And just in case you didn't know, her hair is a glory unto her. Greetings everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. As you can already see, we are going to be doing a tutorial on this super cute lemonade braid boho hairstyle. So of course we're starting off, you want to know what fresh, clean, washed hair, okay, for best results, because when products in the hair, it will interfere with the results of the braids, okay. It can turn the hair white, and we don't want that. I'm starting off by parting the hair into 3 separate sections. Anytime I do these curve braids, Alicia Keys braids, whatever you want to call them, I like the part 3 sections because I feel like it helps me get my curves just right. So here you can see I'm sectioning off those baby hairs. Of course, if you've been here for a while, you know Zanaya, my daughter, she loves the baby hair. So ask your client about their preference. Now using my braiders comb, I'm just going to start parting off that first braid, okay? They say something about that first braid is going to determine your entire style. So really take your time, clean up those parts. You want to go over and over until you get it to perfection. Then I'm taking my neat braid gel and I just saturated each section. I'm starting off my first braid, and don't worry y'all, I'm going to do another braid that really slows everything down and details everything. But you'll see how I add the hair in here between my pointer and my thumb finger. I braid on, then I add that other piece right in between my pointer and my thumb finger. And I do that pretty repetitive just to give you a quick, rundown on how I feed in the hair. I also have plenty of other videos on my channel that detail how I add hair in, how I add the boho. So always go back and check those videos out. And I also want to add that make sure you watch this video to the end, y'all, because I do have bonus content on how I added in the boho pieces at the ends and my technique on how I curl the ends without using any rods. So you want to take that neat braid gel, whatever jam that you like to use, and make sure you're applying it along the braid even as you braid down towards the ends. So yeah, I got my first braid in, so now I'm just going to work in that same section. I just take it out and I'm parting off. This time I want to kind of go in and curve that braid. Alright, so you'll notice what I'm doing. Just, if you need to take the video back or slow it down, just to get a better look at what's going on. And y'all, I just want y'all to bear with me. Y'all don't understand what happened with this content, y'all. With this video really gave me a run for my money. So it is a little sped up and the frames may go in and out, but y'all just bear with us and you're going to get the picture, alright? It's still going to detail you on how you can achieve this style. So as you can see, I just did a little curve part and I'm curving my braid. If y'all didn't notice, I'm not adding much hair into the actual cornrow, okay? The scalp braid. On the scalp braid, I'm really just using her natural hair because I want these braids to be as sleek as possible. If you begin to add in too much braiding hair, the braid can become very bulky. Okay, so if you do add in braiding hair, make sure it's very tiny pieces. But I only begin to add the braiding hair once I got towards the end of the braid or towards the nape of the hair. Alright, and as y'all can see, I'm taking my time. I'm going over those parts again and again until I get it to what I feel like is perfection. I'm using my gel and I am just going and taking my time to create a nice, clean, and sleek braid. And another thing you want to keep in mind while parting on this style is that once you get towards the nape of the style, you want to make sure that the parting is getting very, very slim, okay? Because towards the back of the head, it is not as much space as the front. So you have to make up for that, okay? So as you get towards the nape, always part a lot smaller than what you did at the front of the client's head. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to give you all an angle of that as well. But right now, I'm just kind of adding in those braids, curving and swerving it, and there's no specific way to do this, okay? You can freestyle this part, all right? You could add in zigzag, crisscross, you could curve them left, right. It's so many different ways. Listen, get creative. That's one of the key components of being a stylist is creativity. So don't think that you have to do yours exactly like someone else's. Hey, be the next trending thing. All right, come out with your own way. But this is just like a diagram just to kind of give you an outline. But you can always use your own ideas and inspiration pics or videos to, follow up on as you are doing or completing the style. But for me, I just kind of took the braids, as you can see, back and forth. I started towards the left, then I started towards the right, just curving the braid. And once I get to that final braid in the middle, I just did that braid going straight back. So now I've made it to my middle section, and I'm just seeing how I want to part everything, which way I want my braids to curve. And I'm kind of keeping the same idea that I did on the side. Alright, one braid is going to pull from the left and the other from the right, and back and forth and so on. So here's the back. You see how skinny I got with the hair towards the back versus at the front. And I'm keeping that same repetition. As you can see, I am using the gel to clean up my parts and that parting comb to really take my time, go over it, and I saturate each side of my braid with the gel before and comb it through, smooth it out before I begin to braid. And once you begin braiding, always start with the smallest point as possible, keeping your fingers nice and tight and grip. And you see right there with the comb, I just kind of snagged out some hair that could have got caught up while I was braiding. Always watch out for that as you braid, and that will help keep everything nice and neat as well. For the hair, since I didn't show it, I do like to use the Expressions pre-stretched braiding hair. And for the boho, any deep wave or water wave would be nice to kind of match this pattern. So I got my first braid in on that second section, and I'm going in with my second braid using the same ideas. Using my gel to smooth out the braid, and I'm not being stingy with the product. Use as much as needed. Alright, and if you notice, I'm not really focusing on stitching here. You'll notice that actually once you start doing stitch braids for a while, that it automatically starts to stitch itself. But if you want to define those, by all means, go ahead and perfect those stitches. But this was a tedious style, so I didn't want to focus on it too much. Alright, and I'm also going in and I'm removing any hairs. As you can see, a hair tried to get over and join the party on the other side. So you see there, I just kind of snatched it out and put them back where it's supposed to be at. So you want to just keep an eye out and be very mindful that everything is continuing to be neat as you braid on. You can also use a clip or a comb to help keep those hairs in place. As I get towards the nape area, I am keeping in mind to make sure that the section is beginning to become thinner, or the braid is, becoming thinner, because at the nape there is a smaller space than at the front of the head. So just keep that in mind. So I finished off that middle section, and now I'm on my last section, keeping everything the same, just curving and swerving or whatever design I want to do for those braids on each side. But the main thing you want to do is really take your time and don't beat yourself up too much. Practice is going to make you better. So as long as you keep at it, improvement is inevitable. Alright, y'all. I appreciate everybody's support on all of my videos. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now so you won't forget. Alright, last braid, so y'all know we was getting super excited right here. But these are the end results of the braid. I did the baby hairs, and this is how it turned out, y'all. Now this, when I say this one right here, I say this about all of them. This one right here really was really nice. Okay, I really enjoyed how neat the braids were and how versatile the style is, as far as being able to pull them to each side or wear them to the back. You could do a bun, two buns. I'm always an advocate for getting, switching up your looks doing a style. But everything was just laid out perfectly. The baby hair, um just everything about the style. And if you are wondering, if you got this far in the video and you didn't see me do her ends, there is a bonus video at the end of this video, so make sure you watch it all the way through, and it's gonna really show you how I did the boho and curled the ends, y'all. But as you can see, she was feeling herself right here, y'all. Look at her, glued to the camera. You know how they get when they get that hair done, but it did turn out cute. So I hope you all were able to get some type of information or inspiration from this video. And please consider subscribing so that you won't miss what we have coming next. All right, bless you for watching. To make sure that you're keeping your fingers as close as possible to the client's scalp, okay? And also, as you move down, you want to keep your fingers close so that the braid doesn't slack and everything is nice and tight. And you also want to take that gel and make sure that you're adding it down the braid as you're braiding, just to help you blend the client's natural hair in with the braiding hair. It helps create a very smooth transition and gets rid of any flyaways that you may occur during the style. And here's that closer view that I told you all I would show you. I just parted out 3 sections. I'm taking that hair, I'm adding it in between my thumb and my pointer. I'm braiding on, and the piece that was hanging out, I'm just going to add that in between my thumb and my pointer after I turn over the braid, okay? So here it is again. I added it in between. Then as I turn my hand over, I added in the extra piece. And there's no set amount of braiding hair pieces that I add into each braid. I just like to go with the flow of the clients, because you'll notice that some clients don't need to add as much hair. Like if they have thicker hair, you may not need to add as much braiding hair. So I always suggest just to go according to the client's hair type and texture. As I moved up with the box braid or the knotless section of the style, I did begin to add a few more curly pieces. So instead of 2, I did do maybe 3 or 4. And again, I'm just going with the flow. And so here I'm showing you again how I tied that knot, just in case you didn't catch it the first time. It's wrapping around my thumb. I'm opening up that loop, and I'm going to use my pointer finger just to help me push it through and pull it tight. So it's pretty repetitive. Once you get the hang of it on a couple braids, you'll get the flow to do the rest of the braids. Now I'm going to show you how I get the curly end. So I'm grouping all of the ends together on the end of the hair. I did remove all the curly boho pieces out of the way so I could just have the straight braiding hair at the end. I'm going to take a separate piece of braiding hair and line it up about halfway with those ends. And the other half that was loose, I'm going to start to wrap it around right where the braid stops, right where we tied those knots at. I'm going to wrap it really tight there. So maybe wrap it around 4 or 5 times. Then I'm going to start to diagonally wrap that piece down the rest of the hair. So you will see it here. It kind of looks almost like you're twisting it in a sense. And when you are wrapping it, you don't want to wrap it tight, okay? You want to make sure that it's very loosely wrapped. If it's too tight, it won't scrunch. So as you see, I'm pulling the hair that I wrapped around, and it's going to scrunch up as a curl like so. All right, if this is too complicated for you, you could use some type of perm rods or flexi rod. You could do the braid technique, or you could just do the Bantu knot technique, where you just wrap it around like a Bantu knot and dip it in water, okay? You could even use the throwback hack, where they take foil and create the curls. So try different ways and see what works best for you. But either way, you just want to dip it in hot water at the end.